Is it gonna start? Okay.
We are live.
Oh, okay. It's a 30 seconds kind of. Okay.
And we have 2 viewers.
We do?
We do.
Can we see who those people are?
I have no idea who they are. If the viewers are inclined, they can type in the
they can
chat box to identify who they are. So Katie is interested in knowing who they are.
But no worries.
If the viewers want to review themselves, let us know in the comment box who you are. All right, so let's get started. But before we do, let's do some general things here. I have a list of questions in front of me to keep me on track. And then we have Katie, who will do an introduction in a little bit. I left that part out. But let's start with the purpose. So the purpose of today's live stream is just like some fun questions about dating in your 30s. And the questions come primarily from a poll that I did and just questions that we all are interested in knowing about. So that's one. And the second thing is like I said, I have a list of questions, and we also have a live audience.
Still those two audience.
That we will take questions from as well. So as you know, Katie answers these questions. The viewers may have questions. Feel free to leave your questions down there, and then we'll kind of alternate between my questions and then the audience questions as well. So with that, we can go ahead and get started with our questions. Are you ready, Katie?
I think. I don't know.
All right, let's get started. Maybe we'll do some just basic introduction first, I guess.
Okay.
Name, age, maybe a little bio about yourself, whatever bio suits you.
I don't know. Okay. I feel like this is like our videos that I was recording before in January, where my introduction. Okay. My name is Katie. I am 30-something years old. What else did you want to know?
Any cool fun fact about yourself?
There's nothing cool about me. I don't know.
How long have you been in the area?
I've been in Washington, D.C. for about 4.5 years, which is a very long time. Came from Florida, just like Brian. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll stick with that. So let's start with the very first question. So the questions that we're going to ask is in the order of the highest voted question.
Okay.
So we're going to start that. So it's all the questions that everyone's interested in knowing about.
All right.
So the very first question should be a easy one, I think, right? What are some of the things you've learned from past relationships that you now look for in a new partner?
Yeah, I was like thinking about this question, and it actually, I'd probably say this may be different from a lot of people, but for me, something, and this is like kind of one of the many reasons why I had ended a very long relationship in my life, but then the main thing for me, or one of the big things, was just how two people deal with conflict. And so with somebody that I had a past relationship with, the way that he dealt with conflict was just, I was not able to kind of get through to him, and it was done in such a way that I just couldn't imagine myself dealing with this kind of person. Every time we had a conflict or an argument, whether it was small or big, just how he dealt with the conflict and how it differed from mine, and also just I guess like the unwillingness to kind of meet me in the middle. So I think for me that's like really important that I look for. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily like look for, because like, I mean, those kinds of things you would only be able to experience like once you get to know a person and you've spent some time with that person. But I don't know, for me that was like a kind of a major thing that made me realize how important it is to not just enjoy kind of like the good things and with a person, but just kind of like how we deal with the hardships and the challenges. And so Yeah, so just to give like a brief, I don't know, example is just like for me, when it comes to conflict, I'm very much of a talker. I'm very much a confrontational kind of person. I want to get it all out in the open right then and there. And this particular person was more of like a closed off, kind of didn't, almost like needed time to process away from it, but to the point where I couldn't even be in the same room with this person. And I guess for me, it was just I wanted somebody who at least could meet me in the middle when it comes to something like that, and that person didn't give me that. And so for me, that was something that I always like thought about. If I'm gonna imagine somebody I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with, I want to make sure that when we do have conflicts, which we will, that we're working towards each other in the relationship. We're not yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh yeah,
but
it does. And I mean that's a common thing I think a lot of people look for as well. But let's pause for a second because that music is very distracting to me. So I'm just gonna mute the mic for a second. Okay.
Felt like we were in a rainforest or something, like on Avatar.
I have no idea if anyone heard the music in the background, but it's it was like nature-y music.
Yeah.
Okay, so conflict management, I think that's a very common thing that
Yes.
people do state in how and something that they look for. But the question then is, how do you evaluate conflict management in dating now? Like, how do you evaluate that in a new person that you're just seeing?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have a great answer for that because, I'm actually, something, well, I don't know if I haven't mentioned it here yet, but I'm in a relationship right now and it's fairly new. And that's something that's kind of been on my mind because, yeah, I mean, like, you only have your first kind of like argument or fight, with somebody you're dating. Like, it doesn't usually happen the first couple of weeks. It happens like kind of later on in the relationship, usually. But the way, I don't know, I hate that this is live because I don't even know if this answer is like good or bad, but I mean, I've talked about it with this person. Like, we talked about, how do you deal with anger? How do you deal with conflict? Just kind of, how have you dealt it with your past relationship? What kind of person are you? Do you like to talk about it? Are you, just, and I know that that's not like a great answer. And it's something that I'm still going to be learning about with this person that I'm getting to know. But even in the first couple of weeks of getting to know this person, there have been, I wouldn't say arguments, there were definitely no like fights or anything, but just like, just little things that, maybe like, I wouldn't even call them, I don't even, sorry, I don't have the right words right now, but,
well, it's okay. Let me ask you one question then that's related to this. And what I've heard some people do, and I know like guys are not a fan of this, because I heard some of my friends do this. Basically, to test conflict management or one's capacity to manage conflict, they intentionally start a fight to see how others react.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
I will say I feel like I did that in when I was first, in relationships because it was like, it was like I. Yeah.
And you can plead the fifth. It's okay. if
I would start arguments out of like nothing. And I didn't even know why, but I think that was like, I just wanted to know like how are we when things are really bad? I want to know that. And I wouldn't say that I do that now. But I think as someone who was a bit naive back when I was in my early 20s, I think I did something like that to kind of test the water, so to speak. But yeah.
We got a comment from someone that said that, where's the chat? I have no idea if they can actually...
Is it the chat's on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Is that, okay, yeah.
I just don't know if they can access it because this is a brand new YouTube account. It might not be activated. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, we can keep going.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Let's move on to the next question. Actually, did we answer this one last time? Do you plan to set... Oh, no, I don't think so.
We answered the third one.
Okay, yeah. So we'll skip the third one. So the second question is, do you plan to set a deadline for settling, or are you willing to keep looking for the one if you have to wait until the end of your 30s?
So the first thing that really like throws me off with this question is just like the one. I just I guess for me it's more like, yeah, I guess I'm not a believer that there's like only one person in the whole world that is like meant for you. I think there are people that are kind of like meant for you in different seasons of your life. And if you happen to meet somebody who kind of meets those, I guess, those needs that you have at that specific time, I just, I don't know. I feel weird about the word "the one," but I mean, but yeah. To answer the question, for me, I mean, like, I think maybe when I was in like my mid-20s, there was kind of this fear that like, oh, like, what if I don't meet anyone else besides, this person who I'm not like completely happy with? Like, is like, should I just, try to just settle with this person? And I think for me, like now that I'm in my 30s, I mean, obviously I desire to be married. I desire to have kids. Like, I want all of those things. I guess for me, I've this is actually a really interesting question because like over the last couple of years, my mindset has changed a lot in the sense where I've really made an effort to kind of remove all of that pressure of just like, you have to be married by, this year or whatever, or, you should have kids by, this, by this time frame. And, obviously I think like family and like friends, like play a role in that. I'm sure probably all of your family members, whenever they see you, are always asking, when are you getting married, or when are you having kids and all that. And so I think for me, it took a long time to kind of operate in a sense where I was just like, if I get married now or I get married when I'm 38 or when I'm 54, like for me, I absolutely believe that I would never settle for somebody unless they truly met at least all of the major things that are important for me. And obviously there are kind of like my brother was just telling me this yesterday, there's like major things and minor things that you look for in a person. And so like for me, I don't need to have somebody who meets all of those qualities. I just, for me, it's the most important to kind of meet the major ones. And if that takes, decades from now or a few months from now, like I'm willing to wait, because I know that I would rather be happy, like in a marriage that I know that I want, than being miserable just because I settled for somebody, just because I wanted to get married at a certain time or wanted to get all of that stuff done by a certain time. So, yeah, I think I'm definitely more for waiting, although I'm sure that's easier said than done. But
sure.
Yeah, but
okay, that's
yeah.
fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. These questions are too deep. Let's switch real quick to one of the fun questions to change it up.
I don't know if my answers will be that fun though, but
really? Oh. Well, it'll definitely be entertaining for at least me. But so, the very first fun question. I think it's fun to talk about these.
Okay.
Describe your worst date. Yes.
There's like a couple that come to mind, to be honest.
Well, you can share as much as you like. Let's start with two.
All of these are first dates. Like,
first dates.
Yeah. I'm trying to find the one that's the most. I don't know if this is like, okay, I don't know if this like qualifies as like worst date. It's just I don't sorry, I'm trying to like think. I want to give
Which
like
one?
a good well,
I'm sure you have a lot.
yeah, let me think. There's like a lot. I wouldn't necessarily say they're like worst dates. They're just kind of like bad first dates that I just okay, I'll give one, but it's not really anything like juicy or
No, that's right.
I'm like I don't have anything juicy to
We
say.
don't need juicy. Just like I think people because I've asked this question to a lot of folks before, and everyone has a different impression of what's a bad date, right? So for example, sometimes when I ask for a bad date, most people usually describe awkward dates.
Okay.
Like, I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
it's your first
yeah, yeah.
date. It's usually awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, you expect that, right?
yeah.
Maybe awkward silences, maybe to be expected. But is that really a bad date? Or is it just, I mean, it's a little awkward. It's
Yeah.
just weird date. I don't know.
Yeah.
But some are like really bad dates where either people get in arguments or like that's what I usually consider a bad date. Like I don't know if you watched my live stream last time with Norman, but a bad date was like me going on a first date with someone. We were at Hibachi where there's a lot of people around us.
Yeah.
And within the first 10 minutes, the girl I was with started screaming.
At you?
Not at me, but she was screaming because she was so mad about Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. I don't remember why. But that, I would say, is a bad date. I mean, I just don't know what happened. And
that's...
everyone's looking... That's a bad date. It wasn't awkward.
Okay.
It was
okay.
weird.
Yeah. See, when I think of bad date, I'm thinking of, like, awkward dates. Just, like... It was just, like, awkward because it was, like, first date and, like... there is one that I have in mind, but I don't really feel comfortable sharing. But the awkward date that I guess that I had was... it wasn't anything like crazy, so I just want to preface with that. But basically, I mean, we just had like a normal dinner somewhere. I think we were like in Tyson's Corner in Virginia, and we just had like a regular normal dinner somewhere. And so this particular person, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. Sorry, this is a really bad question.
Do you want to come back to this?
Maybe just because I don't know how to describe it, and I feel like I'm just going to be taking people on this like random like story. But I will just say that one of my worst dates, and I don't want to share it the details on here, but just to be like give you a background, it was just a date that ended with somebody who was too physical with me on the first date.
And you don't want to say
physical as in like we were going like we had a good dinner and then we were going to go to like a bar just to get like a cocktail or something, but in between walking from that dinner to the cocktail place, I mean, this person just grabbed my hand and just like was holding my hand in the street, and I was like, it was just super awkward because we were not physical at all, and all of a sudden he felt like it was okay to just grab my hand, and I was
like... Wait, when in the date did this occur? Like,
this occurred after dinner. I mean, it was a good dinner. It wasn't like the best dinner I've had. I mean, we had good conversations, but it was still very much of a getting to know you thing. I don't know if maybe I came across like that was okay, but it was really awkward because I had to multiple times tell this person like, basically get his hands off and be like, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable with that. And really, when we got to the next place, I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, how do I end this date ASAP? Because this person clearly has the wrong mindset of what I think is okay, or so.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it actually, and I'm not going to explain the details, but it just got worse throughout the time.
So this is fun. So and the reason why I say this is because of a couple things. So there are, I mean, there's a lot of expectations. There's a wide variety of expectations on first dates, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I personally think that it's good to establish some type of rapport. You feel comfortable on the first date. That's like a good sign of good chemistry.
Yeah.
Right? I have that same thought about trying to hold someone's hand on a first date.
You mean you think it's okay? Or you have thoughts about it?
I wouldn't say it's bad, but I think you have to feel out the chemistry.
Oh, okay.
So one, the first red flag is that you told him it's not okay.
And he did it again. Yeah.
I think regardless of whatever action he did, like, it seems as though you're as yourself. Everyone's different.
Right.
Any physical escalation sounds pretty bad in that case. And if you told him, that's bad for him to do, right? My first dates, usually there is like zero physical.
I mean, usually mine are. I don't know where this sorry.
But I'm saying is like, have I done it? Yes, but usually it's the girl. But usually it's actually the girl that initiates because I don't feel comfortable doing it because I'm worried that they might not feel comfortable.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
So that's what I'm saying. It could be okay depending on the girl.
Yeah.
But every single time it's the girl that is initiated. I have like 0% of the time have I ever initiated. The earliest I have is on the second date.
Okay. Yeah. I think the key thing, though, with this particular date was that he did it once. I said I'm not comfortable with that, and this person did it repeatedly.
Yeah, that's not cool.
That's
That's
so,
not cool.
Yeah.
But we can move on. We can move on. That's interesting though. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I have like this like.
that's,
it's all good. I don't mind.
which one is it coming from?
No, it's okay.
What's that? There we go.
Oh, okay, cool.
Fixed. Let's see. Next question. I don't know how interesting this one is. Because I asked Norman this question last time, but I thought it was kind of a weak question. But so the next general question is, would you find someone less attractive if they were in their 30s and just now getting their life together?
I would say that if I, and you're asking these questions from somebody who's in their 30s, right? Not somebody who's from,
yeah.
So, okay. I would say initially, I always saw in my mind that, I don't want to say it's less attractive. It's just like,
how about, let me add more context to it. So let's pretend a scenario where this person partied their whole 20s, right? Let's use pharmacy since we're both pharmacists, right? They partied their entire 20s, like literally did not do anything, maybe just lived with their parents the entire time, did not pursue, I mean, literally just bummed. But they had this, in their mind that like they need to do better. And they did. And so they worked their butt off, like let's say 28, 29, got into a top pharmacy school, did really well in pharmacy school, and they're, what's the question? Now they're doing well.
Now they're, yeah.
How would you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would feel, yeah, I mean, like that person, like, that's impressive, like I would think like that's impressive. I mean, like, even if you're starting your, career like later in life, but seeing the passion, the drive, I think would change my mind about, the fact that this person, just was kind of being lazy for, X amount of years in their 20s and stuff. So yeah, I think like with that question, it's more of like, yeah, it's like their motivation now. Like, do they have that kind of drive like now? So, yeah, I was gonna like, I mean, in terms of the example, that kind of explains like a bit of like how I think of it. It's like if sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I think what matters to me is the person's drive now.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's good.
But again, I say that like it's easier. I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's so many nuances you can add to it, but just using that example.
And then so like even if a person doesn't have their life fully, like let's say they don't have like a career, I think like it's important to, it depends on the person, because I think that it depends on their history or their background, like why it is that way. If it is because like, the example that you were saying, like they just kind of, were lazy their whole life, or, were just kind of partying and just like not really caring about that, that's a different story versus somebody who just, certain things happen in their life, and that's why, they didn't get kind of their life together until, later in life. I think there's a difference in that. And so, but yeah, ultimately I'd want to be with somebody who has like some kind of drive. They're not just kind of like sitting around doing nothing. And even if they did that early in life, that's something that is important to them now. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. That works. That's very fair. I think there was a similar question that we asked Norman, and I don't remember what the conversation was, but I think he said the same thing, because we were talking about something like this, and he said he didn't want someone that partied all the time or something like that, or even in the past. I don't remember what it was, but I think ultimately we landed on as long as they're not doing that now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, basically right
like,
now is the most important.
Yes.
Some people care about the past.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I feel like it depends on the person, like, and yeah.
Oh, you got some questions on Facebook.
Oh,
so how come, I don't understand why, I'm assuming some people are asking on mobile and they don't see the live chat, but would she have felt differently if she really liked the guy during the dinner?
Holding hands?
Oh, that's probably, yeah.
I
would have said yes.
I mean, I would, but at the same time, I don't know. I think for me, it might, I don't know.
Oh, there it is. See, because that's what
I guess like for me, even if I really like the guy, I might not still initiate like a handhold just because I don't want to give the impression that I don't know. I guess I
let me paint the picture.
okay.
So you guys go on dinner and you're both nervous, but during dinner you find that he's not only attractive, he's handsome. he's charismatic. He makes you feel comfortable. Like you don't feel nervous. He just makes you feel comfortable.
Right. I feel like even if this person generated that feeling of, you know, even if I really wanted to, I feel like I probably still wouldn't on the first date just because, especially if it's somebody that like, especially if we're talking like first date, like we met on dating apps, which is like mostly how I have, you know, met people for the longest time is through dating apps. Like, I don't know, like, you know, maybe there's somebody that he, like, you know, I don't know his, like, you know, he could be seeing other people too, and it would just be awkward. I would just...
So your answer is no. Which is
my
interesting.
answer is no, but, like, it's like, I mean, I'm definitely, like, one of my top love languages is physical touch, so, like, I could see myself doing that, but at the same time, if it was, like, a first date type of situation, I don't want to introduce that so early, so soon.
This is
without knowing the context. Like, yeah, maybe we're having a great dinner, but like without knowing the context of like where this person, you know, this. Yeah, I don't know.
I find that super interesting. This is the purpose of these talks, is to demystify dating. Okay, so let's move on to another question. Let's go into we'll go into this one. So kind of a female directed question here. What are your general thoughts on dating apps, and what is your general approach to using or not using them?
I am definitely, this is sad to say, but I've been on dating apps for 2017. Yeah, I've been on dating apps for about 3.5 years. No, more than that. 16. Sorry. Yeah, I've been on dating apps for 3.5 years, which I feel like is like, it's a lot to some people. It's like not. It's but I still meet people on dating apps who are like, oh yeah, I've been on this dating app for like a month, and I'm like, really? I've been on it for like 2 years. So in general, I have a love-hate relationship with dating apps, and the reason why is because I think it's a great tool to meet people. Especially meeting people that, you know, certain criteria that you may have, you know, because, you know, now with dating apps, you can add like filters. So like you can filter out just, you know, people who are within like a 20-mile radius, or like people who have to have at least like, you know, a college degree or something like that. So it makes it somewhat easier. I hate dating apps in the sense that just kind of the culture that it's created now, where it's like, you know, you could see, you know, multiple people at one time, and because I feel like because there's an abundance of people that you can, you know, meet or see on a dating app, it just creates this culture of being very casual. And I'm sure that, and I know there are a lot of people who are not on dating apps for that, but it does create a culture of that, where it's like sometimes I've even met people where I really felt like, you know, like felt like there could be some kind of connection for like long term, but then like 2 or 3 dates in, it's pretty evident that this person just thinks of it as like a casual thing. And so the other thing that I don't particularly like about dating apps is because yes, it matches people together, but there's something different about meeting someone like, you know, I say normally, but just like meeting somebody like, let's say like in a friend group, or you have a mutual friend, you know, you start off being like friends first, and then it maybe progress to something more. But with a dating app, it's kind of like, you know, we both know that we want a relationship of some kind. Like it kind of, so you're always thinking about that. Like you're getting to know somebody, but at the same time, you know, that person has like expectations about you already. You have expectations about that person. And yeah, so for a very long time, I've just, yeah, I initially, when I first started on dating apps, I thought it was really great. I got to meet like so many different people, like people that I didn't think I could ever meet just like from work or, you know, my normal social groups. And that was great. But then it got to a point where it was just, I felt like I was meeting too many people at one time. But maybe I think I was like over, not excited, just like, I think it was, yeah, I got excited about meeting all these like different types of people. So I was like, kind of, I would just meet people like in person quite frequently. Whereas later on in my kind of dating life here in DC, it was more like, I wanted to know certain things about a person through texting, like things that through our conversations, before I even allowed us to see each other in person.
So maybe to add on to that, your approach then is to pre-screen them, right?
Yes. Initially, I was very much like, well, I'm just going to meet people and then, find out the things that I want to find out about the person, but like in person. But I had a number of awkward first dates, some of which I've mentioned. So I felt like I wanted to. I guess I stopped myself from meeting people physically up front. Like I thought that it was important to have conversations about things that like really matter before I got to a point that I was like, okay, I think there's something here. Like let's take that next step to meeting in person.
So maybe two questions then. One question is, because you commented it earlier, this dating culture is like people usually dating a lot of people at once, right? So the first question is, how many people do you think individuals are dating? Or do you let me make it easier. Yes or no question. Do you automatically assume that someone you're talking to is talking to multiple people? That's question one.
Okay.
And then question two is, as a guy, what we try to do is we want to meet people in person. Maybe not right now. This is a bad time to meet people in person. But
don't have dates right now. Okay.
Usually it's good to meet people in person. And so how can we help the guys get past the pre-screen phase? So like basically asking, what are the types of things you're looking for in a way? So question
the
one. The
first question was, what was it again?
Do you automatically assume people are seeing multiple people?
Yes. I feel like if in a dating app situation, I always assume that they're, even if it's not like like they may be talking to other people, it may be serious or not, but I always assume that they're at least have one other person, in their life, so to speak, whether it's on that app or another app, because people now have like 5+ apps. So yeah, I definitely go into the situation automatically thinking or assuming that they're probably talking to other people as well. I'm definitely not the only person. That's what I think.
Okay. So what about the good question here? Like, what can guys do to get past the screening?
That's a very, and I think I've mentioned this in the last video we did, but like it's such a subjective question because different girls want different things and different.
How about this? Because that's very true. Because everyone does things differently. So what is the typical, like if the guy answers all your screening questions, then basically that'll be good to go. He's good, right? Like what does that time period typically look like? Like what usually is enough aside? Like what does that duration look like? Is it usually over days?
It's hard to answer because I honestly, this is like a. I honestly haven't really met anybody from a dating app in like over a year. It's like when I first started to where I was now up until I, got into a relationship with somebody, I would say like the last year and a half was like I was barely on the apps. I mean, if I did, I was like, I wasn't really committed to the conversation. It was just because like I just personally didn't. Not that I didn't feel ready. I just it wasn't the most important thing for me at that time. And so I just didn't commit myself to being on the apps and stuff like that. So it's been a long time, but I would say like on the later half of my sort of dating app life here in DC, I would say it was at least like a week or two.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I definitely towards the end, I was definitely more like I think I don't even want to meet you unless I know certain things about you, and I don't want you to give me answers that you think is the right answer. Like I really want to know where your heart is at, because basically what it came down to was like I just don't want to invest my time and my emotions into somebody unless I have like the major things. And I know that that may be a very like high standard, but it just comes from, you know, several years of just being like hurt over and over again, of just like meeting people and then, you know, thinking that something would, you know, they came.
Keep going.
Sorry. Yeah, so just like, it was just many years of kind of like meeting people, and thinking that it would progress to something, and then either my expectations not being met or that person's expectations not being met. And so as a result, I felt like I was getting hurt a lot, just because like, or I was hurting other people. And it just got to a point where like my heart was just like, I just like, I don't want to do that to myself anymore. I want to be serious about it, and I want to, I don't want to put anyone through all of that time. And so I would say that, the later half has been definitely more of like, you know, I really spent more time talking to a person. And you can find out, like, I mean, when you're spending that much time talking to one person, I mean, some people just kind of like lose interest. And so like, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, clearly we didn't have, you know, it wasn't, I don't know.
Well, that feels good as a guy, because now we know why we never get dates. Everyone gets jaded. So the viewers.
And I will say,
treat.
oh yeah.
We're gonna do mukbang. Mukbang. You know how to say it?
I have no idea how to say it.
'Cause
All I know is what it means. But I
pronounced it wrong to my Korean friends one time. That's not how you say it. Anyways, so excuse us while we eat and chat. We have a
Brian is super
sushi.
famished right now. So.
Yeah, I'm super hungry.
Ooh.
12-piece
Sushi. Oh yeah, so it was like the nigiri. Yep, and then a chicken tempura roll and a Baltimore roll, which I believe is probably just something with crab because it's Baltimore.
Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay, so while we do that, let's see another question. Well, how about
do you
this
have a
one?
little saucer thing? It's okay if you don't.
Oh yeah.
Or okay. Oh, perfect. All right.
This is a good question, and I think a lot of guys are usually interested in this because so we talked about the bad dates, right?
Yes.
What about a good date? So like, what are the things that guys can do to make a good date?
I guess when I was reading this question, I was like, do you mean best date like in somebody you're still dating, or a good date with somebody you're in a relationship and you're like dating?
First date.
Okay, first date. Okay, honestly, like one of my favorite first dates is like something that was so simple. We literally just went to a coffee shop but it was just like the way that the conversation carried through and just kind of like how much chemistry I had. We ended up just like, so this is in Old Town Alexandria, and we just ended up walking around Old Town. But like it was one of those dates where it was like you didn't even know, you know, what time it was, or you know, like, or how much time has gone by kind of dates where it was
How long
just
did
like,
that date go for?
It was definitely longer than we intended to, but it was like maybe it was at least 2 or 3 hours, because I want to say just in the coffee shop we were there for like an hour, and then it was just kind of like and I think we didn't have I can't remember if it was before or after like lunch or something, but it was just like one of those dates where you just lose track of time because you're like having such a good time, and it's like a really simple thing, but
So it sounds like the good of that was just basic having chemistry with someone.
Yeah, and just like the conversation and.
But what made that chemistry happen? Did he come off as very charismatic? Did you guys have a lot of similarities? Like what made it?
We had a lot of similarities for sure, and we had also, that was one of the people where like we had talked for at least like 1 or 2 weeks before we saw each other. So like there was
So you pre-screened him already. Okay.
Yeah, he passed the pre-screen.
Okay,
this was
good.
before the days where I would like literally meet someone within like, I don't know, a day of matching with them or something like that. So yeah, I'm trying to think of any, to be honest, like again, because I haven't met anyone on a dating app in like probably over a year, it's hard to remember the best dates. I mean, I've definitely done fun things before. What is this? I think a lot of people are going back to the hand holding. I think maybe I'm just weird that I think it's like a little bit.
Oh no, you didn't see the question?
Oh,
is that a question? You know Michael?
I know plenty of Michaels. I don't know if I know that Michael.
That's Lisa's husband now, actually.
Okay, I met him then.
No, we were not feeding each other sushi. That's not appropriate. All right, next question. Well, this is fun. I've always been interested. This actually, one of my high school friends was talking about this the other day about sliding into DMs, and I'm gonna change this one a little bit. But
Is it okay if I eat one sushi?
Yeah, let's go ahead, and I'll explain my case here. So the question here is, how do you feel about guys sliding into your DMs? What would be some of the things that make you answer or not answer them? And any recollections of really good DMs or really bad DMs? So the reason why this question comes up is a couple of things. I'll give you a couple of perspectives.
Okay.
I know a lot of my friends that slide into DMs.
Okay. And
right?
is this on Instagram or Facebook? Because I'm just curious.
I'm old school. I just think about Instagram, but I guess it happens everywhere. I even hear about it in LinkedIn, and I guess all of these fall into DMs. Basically,
LinkedIn.
Interesting, right? So any social media platform where a guy randomly, it doesn't necessarily have to be a random guy. It could be like a friend of a friend that just reaches out in the message out of nowhere to initiate conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what DMs are.
Yeah.
So I haven't really done this, but I can tell you that a lot of guys do, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of I don't know if the correct word is controversy, but a lot of guys don't like it because girls usually would take the DMs, screenshot it, and post it publicly to put the guy on blast. Now, there's a lot of guys that are like straight up, inappropriate in their DMs.
Right.
So they get screenshot and put on blast. All right, that's cool. But then I don't do it because it's like there's a lot of guys that are nice, maybe just want to get to know someone.
Yeah.
Say, hey, what's up? And then they get blasted in public. That ain't cool. So that's the context. How do you feel about guys sliding into your DMs? What would be some of the things that will cause you to answer or not answer them?
I think, I've definitely heard of people who, met on Instagram, and these are people they end up, marrying and stuff like that. So, I'm not saying it's, a bad thing. I think it just depends on your approach. So, I was telling Brian earlier, I don't often get a lot of these DMs. I'm not that cute, so, I mean...
She's being modest.
The DMs that I do get are, the creeper DMs, just, the just, a general, there's not even really one-liners. It's just kind of I don't know, some form of hello, but a little bit more than that. But I will say that the people, or I have gotten creeper messages on Facebook and Instagram, but the ones that just give me I wouldn't say a double take, because I still think it's creepy, and it's these are people that are the people that do are just they're the creeper Instagram accounts. They're not friends of friends, at least. If it was somebody who kind of messaged me just for maybe something that they were interested in, but just showing some kind of interest. If it was a friend of a friend, or if it was somebody who seemed real, I mean, I think I would probably take it differently. But sorry, the ones that I usually get are just kind of I want to say they're scammer accounts or creeper. I don't know. Is that
what's a scammer account? What?
I don't know. It's just I don't know. I think I get it from weird foreign accounts or something. But the ones that give me a bit of a double take, but I don't answer to them anyway, is the ones who go they compliment you, but in a way that's a very not personalized, just I don't even know how to explain it. One of the ones that gave me a double take was he described in detail my smile. That sounds really stupid. That sounds really silly. But I don't get I don't know, the other kinds of DMs, I guess, that people are thinking of.
What kind of descriptions? Is your smile is the shape of the moon, a half crescent.
Something like that. Just
that's poetry.
Basically,
that's
exactly.
Romantic. No, that's too weird.
I mean, it's not enough for me to be okay, I'll answer back and start something from there. I still think it's a little bit creepy. And yeah, but I think in general for most females, I think it just depends on the approach. Like I said, I've definitely heard of people who've been in relationships with people that they started off DMing on Instagram. But it was usually in the context of being interested in something about the person, as opposed to hey, want to grab a drink or something? I don't know. Just, yeah.
All right. I'll queue up the next question while you grab a bite.
Okay. This is a big one.
Haradrum is Wilson. He said friends accounts aren't safe either. I'm not sure what is meant by that, but what I usually hear is that girls. It's not common for girls to answer DMs from strangers, but it is common.
Not uncommon.
Not common.
Not common.
But it is common for girls to answer if there's like friends of friends, like a mutual friend or distant friend. For whatever reason, it just seems more. I don't know.
I think I would agree to that. Like I said, if it was kind of like a friend of a friend, or if I had a mutual friend and I trusted that friend, then I might be a little bit more like, okay, this person is kind of. If I trust that friend or something like. Yeah.
Okay, so we're ask another one here. Well, this is interesting. It seems like we're gonna go back to the deep questions. Do you want to grab another bite first?
I'm okay. Good. You can
Okay.
go.
It seems like many individuals, dating in your 30s, many are married or divorced or have kids, right? Would you date a divorcee or someone with kids, and why or why not?
I think I wouldn't be opposed to it for somebody who's a divorcee. I think again, and this sounds kind of bad, but like, I think it depends on the reason for the divorce. Like obviously if it was like one party not being loyal to the other, that would make me give me a bit more of a pause, especially if it was that person that was not loyal to his wife. Like if that was a reason why they got divorced.
But you would date a divorcee.
Yeah, just in general, I would say I would be open to dating somebody who
for the right reasons, basically.
For the right reasons.
What about kids?
Kids, I think for me it would depend. I would be, I guess, like right now in my 30s, I would be okay with it. If I was like in my late 20s and I had no idea about like kids or anything about that. I mean, I have a sister who has kids. She has like a 4-year-old, 3-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old. So like, I've definitely been around more kids, and that's definitely like generated a desire to like have kids. Those are things that I know that I want, and now that I've like been exposed to them, like it's something that I'm like used to, and I feel like now I could say, if somebody had kids, like I would definitely be open to that. I think for me too, it would also, because I also have a desire to have kids, it would also depend if that person was open to having more kids.
That's interesting.
At least
I did not expect that answer.
Yeah.
But okay.
But I'm also like, it's not like a deal breaker for me either. Like, because even if I got to a point that I, couldn't have kids or couldn't get pregnant, I'm actually also open to adopting kids. But I guess with somebody who had kids, I'd be, But for me, like just generally for somebody who has kids, I think for me, the next question would be like, is he willing to have like another child with me? Because I think that would be,
That's very interesting. Okay. So I'll queue up the next question while you give another bite here. Wilson says hi.
Hi.
And then we have a question from Ali Wen. Says, Katie said she assumes that guys are dating more than one person at a time, and that online dating has created a culture of casual dating. Does she also date more than one guy at a time? Why or why not?
I can answer that question. I mean,
okay. Nice.
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 I think like, if I'm like, I guess when I say dating more than one person at a time, oopsie.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
What am I going with?
Because I had a similar question that I didn't elaborate with Norman last time. Norman said he dated 3 girls at once one time. And we didn't get into the categorization of what does it mean to date more than...
Right.
Like, what does that mean?
So
what's your definition?
So when I say dating more than one person, it's more of like... so this is really bad, but like I mentioned, when I first started dating apps, I would meet so many people at one time. And like, I remember... This is really bad, but like I remember a period of maybe like 4 or 5 days, I met 3 guys, and it was like back to back almost. And it was just like, I'm just going to go on a first date and just see how it is. And then after I got, went through all of them, I'll kind of decide who I want to like give more time, like, kind of decide from there. So that's what I kind of mean where it's like...
so that's not dating.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
actually,
not dating.
I take that back.
I guess...
Everyone defines it differently.
Everyone defines it differently, and that's again what I hate about dating apps is that like you may have different expectations of what dating is from that person, and you may have gone to a point with that person where you're like, okay, in my mind I'm actually being exclusive to this person, and like what I do is I like pause all of my dating apps. That's what I do.
Wait, when do you pause all your dating apps?
I'm just saying, like, in general, like, if I get to a point with a person that we've been seeing each other for a couple, like, you know, for a few dates now, and it's somebody that I want to get to know more.
What if there's two?
See, that's never really happened to me, but, like, there definitely have been situations where, like, I've been maybe 2 or 3 dates in with one person, and then I match with the person that I'm, like, maybe talking to, but, like...
So, let me elaborate then. Let's say there is that one person that you have been talking to. You've been going on dates with, right?
Yeah.
You like him, he likes you. When do you pause? Let's say you didn't have that conversation about defining the relationship. There's no talks about exclusivity. When do you pause?
It's very, like, yeah, it's very...
And you don't have to answer. I'm just wondering.
No. I'm just saying, like, I think it's objective in the sense where it's just like where I feel that it is right. Like but that's a subjective thing. Like, there's not like, oh, it's when we did this, or oh, it's when we had this conversation. It's just kind of like, it's just when I've gotten to a point with that person where it feels mutual. And yeah, maybe I haven't had that conversation yet. But for me personally, I know, like, I don't want to introduce anybody else in my life right now. So then I pause all of my dating apps.
Okay. So, how do you define this? It's interesting because I know that New York dating culture, when I was talking to some of my friends in New York, they were saying it's like...
different than DC?
There is like...
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
It doesn't... the threshold of dating is very, very, very high. I don't know if that's the right way to put it.
What do you mean by threshold?
Like, what you consider talking to someone or dating... Like, you can go on, like, 20 dates with someone, and the folks from New York can definitely correct me. This is just my assumption that I heard from talking to people, is that you can go on, like, 20 dates with someone, go to all these different places, and they'll still be talking to many different individuals. Like, there's no... Okay. That doesn't mean anything. You have to, like, have that the conversation.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree.
So the thing I wanted to bring up was that in talking to one of my mentors, and I say mentor as in like
your dating mentor, or
when I was like asking for dating advice, because like when I first got into apps, I had just gotten
out
of
Google's my... No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, go ahead.
I had no idea, but I wanted to ask my friends like what they thought about, like, how do you define dating and talking and things like that, because it's common to talk to multiple people, right?
Yeah.
But like, what is that cutoff? And she said, so I specifically asked the girl because I wasn't know what they said. It cuts off once you sleep with someone. You should not be sleeping with multiple people at once.
I will say there are probably definitely people who...
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So in New York is another example, is like, you assume they are sleeping with multiple people.
Wow.
But that was the threshold that she told me, was like, once you sleep with someone, then you should consider, having the conversation with that girl. Stop talking to the other girls, because that probably just wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
And that was the threshold that she established. I don't...
Yeah.
I don't know how many people follow that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I definitely think there should be a conversation about it. But like, I mean, it's again, it's the thing that I hate most about dating apps. Is just, because I have found like that, if you don't have the conversation about it that define the relationship, then you will have different it's likely that you'll have different expectations than the person that you're with. And I've had that happen to me where I had a certain expectation and thought it was more serious than it was, and then it wasn't, and then so that's...
How did you know?
I don't know if I want to answer.
All right, then you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer. So like, that happened to me too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it happens a lot, and that's just like online dating is really, it's
well, so it's changed me in a way where I'm very upfront in my dates, like especially first dates,
yeah,
or even the screening, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm very upfront about expectations and like stuff like that. But yeah, anyways. So that's Lisa. Lisa says, to me, dating is when you're exclusive. That's interesting. I feel like most people in New York wouldn't say that. I feel like most people are not exclusive in online dating. It's very common to date. So the statistics from OkCupid, right, was saying that on average, people are dating 3.5 people at once. And I'm fairly certain.
Like when you're with somebody who's single.
Yeah, if
like they're
the
they're
average,
dating around kind of thing, like the average. Yeah.
I feel as though it's not common to be exclusive. Okay, let's see what's another one here. Oh, this is fun. This is fun for. I'm curious about this question. What age is considered too young or too old?
So I've actually like I don't have like a calculation in my head or anything, but like I have some friends who are like around my age that are like 30. Like they have to be in their 30s. Like I have some friends who are my age that's like their cutoff. It's
female
like,
or male?
Female. For me, it's like, let's see, without giving my age right now, I would say for me right now, like, because there are certain filters that you can put on dating apps right now. I would say that right now, I think I have it. I mean, I've deleted all my apps already, but I think I have it at like 28 or 29 as too young, up to like
too young. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like 20. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think of that question as like what's kind of your cutoff? Of,
yeah,
like, what's considered? Yeah.
So 28.
So for me, it's like the 28, 29. So basically, somebody who's in their late 20s. That's a must, because I feel like a guy who's 25 is much different from a guy who's like 28. It's just Okay. And then oldest, which is really interesting because I've had conversations with other people, but for me, I think I put it at like maybe 36, 37, just because it, like, there's no, for me, it wasn't like a calculation or anything. I know there's like a calculation that people do, but just like for me, it's just like what kind of feels right. But I don't know. I have a lot of friends who are dating in their 30s that they're cut off. Well, maybe they could go, their cutoff is like in the 40s, like 40, maybe a little bit in the early 40s. And I find that it's, as you get older, it's harder to find, or it's harder to meet guys who are younger, or like who are, what am I gonna say? Like, I don't even know what it's. Never mind. I don't know what I can say.
It's interesting. So maybe I'll ask a related question. What is the youngest or oldest that you have dated?
Not even that young or that old, to be honest. The youngest person, when dating isn't exclusive-ish with somebody.
No, first dates.
First dates. Again, because I put a filter, and my filter has changed. So it used to be a narrower kind of like age range.
How about this? What's the youngest, like, in terms of gap? So you don't even have to say the age, but what's the lowest gate? The youngest gap and
it's really not that young. It's 2 years.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Younger?
Yeah, younger.
What about older?
Older, for first dates?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I want to say it was maybe the gap was like 5 years. 5 or 6 years.
Did you notice any difference between the two? Like, were they...
I feel like with Asian, it's hard to like look wise if they're like... I would say that there is a difference, I think, in their mentality, in their mindset, and in things that is important to them. I definitely find that, I mean, obviously that men who are older, they have their life a little bit more put together, but at the same time, they're also unwilling to kind of, I want to say, like, change. Like, you know, they're so used to kind of doing things a certain way, living their life a certain way, especially if they're like in their like later 30s, that they're not as open to changing that as like somebody who's in their late 20s who's like, yeah, you know, I could still move around to another city or something, or, you know, I think. But yeah, I would definitely say the mindset is a little bit different.
What's your preference then, if you could choose? Older or younger?
Older. Yeah,
okay.
Guys mature late. It's just, I mean, you probably know this. You're a guy, right?
It's fascinating. I don't think I shared this last time. I kind of shared it, but I didn't elaborate on it. The youngest I dated, and it was like, it hit the threshold. I think the threshold was like, crap, I don't remember now. I don't remember what it was.
I don't remember what
it was. Like divided by
it's
2
like, yeah.
plus something. But basically, I just hit it, and it was a very large age gap.
Yeah.
Because I was.
Did you find anything different?
Yeah, I think, we both joked about it all the time.
Yeah.
But I was 32 and she was 24.
Yeah, so that's
pretty large age gap, and so
Yeah.
she would always make fun of me.
Yeah.
But then again, I heard it was interesting because all her friends were between 20 and 24, and we go out. And then I'd always just join them as a girls' night.
You're like chaperone.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always felt like
I'm
I
just
was
kidding.
giving advice or guidance to these young college girls. But it was fascinating to hear about them talk because girls at that age, which I didn't realize at that time, they did not like guys their age. They thought guys in their 18 to 21 was so immature.
Oh yeah, I mean,
But like these are girls in their 20s, 21, 22, and they were just complaining about how immature they were, and I was like, I just thought it was interesting.
yeah.
Not surprising, but it was just interesting to hear that. And so they were always looking for guys that were older to date. And so I just thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
But the mindset for sure, because like we would go clubs and I was just like, oh man, it was rough. It was a rough time.
I know, you just can't
which one
handle
of
your
these do you
alcoholism.
want?
I prefer salmon, but
Take the salmon out.
Okay.
I don't even know which ones they are. So we have a couple of other things. Oh, look at that. Ghosting someone. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
have you ever done it? I have done it, and I hate to say that I've done it before because I obviously don't. I'd rather somebody be honest with me and communicate with me, even if it's like, hey, I'm not interested in you. Like, I like to be confrontational about things, and I prefer somebody to be honest rather than vague and like kind of, I've definitely been ghosted on. I have ghosted other people, but I will say that the times that I've ghosted somebody, it was somebody where it was like a very, like we hadn't met yet. It was more like in talking, like, it's just, yeah. But I would say that people that I've met and I went on a date on, that later they were, still interested, but I may not have been interested. I verbally told them that I was not interested.
Oh, that's nice.
No, but I mean, like,
that is
yeah.
nice.
So, but again, it comes from like, for me, I prefer people to be honest with me, even if it's something that I don't want to hear. Okay. So, and I would say that generally when I am open about it and just very honest, like it's usually well received. I've had like one or two people like where it was not well received, where they were just like demanding an answer why, and it's just like it's just like very awkward. So I do say that it could turn into an awkward conversation. But for me, for the most part, I found that it was well received. From
yeah. I feel as though that's not common from a female.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I haven't done it like too many times because I feel like sometimes even it's kind of mutual when you go on that date that it's like, okay, so I've definitely had where like I went on a date with somebody. This person wasn't exactly what I wanted, and I felt like he felt the same way, and so we just kind of stopped talking. And so that was like, it was like, okay, so I didn't have to say anything, you didn't have to say anything. It was just kind of like, yeah.
A lot of. Why don't you grab one? I can elaborate.
Okay.
A lot of females usually say that they ghost because some guys might get angry, especially if you met them before. So they're afraid. Sometimes guys, I don't know. I guess there's some bad stories out there, so they usually ghost to avoid that potential conflict, especially if you met in person.
Yeah.
So that's why I usually hear. I ghost all the time. I don't know.
I definitely do it for people that it wasn't really. Yeah, it was like we had. Yeah, it was. I'd say for the most part, if it's somebody I met in person, I try to have that conversation. Just because I didn't want to leave that person hanging, I didn't want to, yeah. That's good.
But better than me. Which one would you prefer?
I feel bad. You should choose. I choose.
I feel like I ate all of it. Pick one.
Okay, I'll use a tempura one. Okay. You want to have both of these?
That's ginger.
Oh no, this one. And
this
one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine because the tempura is more. Yeah.
Let's see.
Do you think we need to order more sushi?
I could have ate another one, but it's okay. Wilson says, Brian about to say 18. No, I've never dated an 18-year-old. I matched with the 18-year-old, though. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go on to another question.
So you don't put, like, filters on age?
So maybe this will be a little of a deep question. I don't, like, I match with them because I'm always curious about, like, why would you, like, let's say using
I guess
the girl
maybe
I
it's
dated.
different for a female because I'm just like,
But it's such a big age range. Like, using the girl that I actually dated, 24 and 32, I was like, why? Like, why would you want to date someone that much older? And when I asked her about it, she said that I was the oldest she's ever dated. So I was like, why? It just makes it interesting. So I'm always curious why. I've never actually dated anyone, like, actually met with them that was younger than 24.
yeah.
Right? But after dating her, it made me realize that age is not as important because she, by far, was one of the most mature girls that I ever dated. Like, by far.
Yeah.
So age became irrelevant.
I remember you saying that.
But then in talking to girls around the ages of 24 and 25, I'm like, there is definitely a gap,
Difference?
yeah, in mentality for the majority of the
Right.
girls that age. Like, most of them are mature,
Yeah.
but not mature enough.
Yeah. See, I think that's why I never get matched to anybody that young because I always put a filter. Like, I never match with anybody who's, like, in their early 20s or in their, God, definitely not in their teens. But I think it's that mentality. It's just like, I assume that people that age, like, yeah, they care about having, like, a good time. They care about partying. And, like, I'm just not in that mindset at all. And I don't even want to allow myself to entertain that idea, if you will. But it's just, yeah, I think that's the reason why I put kind of like for the lower end, like the young, yeah.
I don't do that anymore. I was just like, I don't want to deal with anyone that is that is just not mature. I enjoy the more fun conversation, like the more deeper conversation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. This would be interesting. So guys usually think about where to meet girls, like especially dating apps. I don't know about you, but from a male perspective, there is like very low chances of matching anyone unless you're like a 10 out of 10 attractive male. It's very uncommon.
I don't know why. Do you guys really think that low of themselves, or like
What?
I don't know. You're just like you just.
That is just
Okay.
the perception in general.
Okay.
Is that guys never match, so what they do is they swipe on everyone.
Yeah. Oh,
Right?
you should. Do you have a red flags one? Okay. Yeah.
We'll come on that one because that'd be a fun one. But basically, so a lot of guys have resorted to, at least this is my suggestion, is like dating apps. A lot of it is surface, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a higher chance if you approach people in person, regardless of your looks, other things, you have a higher chance. If you're confident and you approach in person,
Yeah.
you have a better chance. So with that question, the segue is, where are some places you prefer to meet guys? Because I've heard of some places where girls would absolutely not entertain the idea.
I'm interested to know what those places are.
No, I'm asking you. Where would you prefer to meet a guy?
I feel like it actually like.
You sure don't want that?
Yeah. Go ahead. You can have it. In general, most of the time, I actually prefer. I think this is hard to answer because like I definitely had a different mindset in the beginning of when I first started dating on dating apps versus now after like my experience with people and and all of that. I would say that generally I actually prefer for the first date to not be some kind of dinner situation, some meal thing.
Do you prefer not?
Not so like I don't know if I'm answering the question.
Oh.
Uh
No, I mean like I didn't. The question wasn't meant for where to go for the first date.
Oh.
Where do you meet people outside of dating apps in general? Where would you prefer?
Oh.
Like, for example, the gym, the grocery store,
okay,
the bar.
Yeah, I must not have a very interesting life because I don't really seek out. I mean, I definitely meet people like at the bar or I feel like that's generally, especially here in DC, where it's like a big. Yeah, I mean, like people go out to the bar for happy hour drinks. People go to the bar after dinner. It's just a very it's an easy place to meet people. I've definitely met people in that setting. I won't necessarily say that I've met somebody that had kind of progressed more than just like. I mean, we may have exchanged numbers, but nothing more than like dates outside of that. I'm trying to think. But I have met people. Yeah, I would say either at a bar. I don't mind meeting people at a bar. I wouldn't say that I personally like look out for that.
But you'd be open to that. I feel like most people would be open to that.
Yeah, I think so.
So if someone is looking, well, actually, Katie's taken. I forgot. I was gonna say if someone's looking for Katie, you can find her at a bar.
Can't find me at a bar right now. All the bars are closed in DC. But
okay. Well, let's move on to. We got a comment. Michael says, Katie is a young white-collar professional. Would she date someone of a different social strata? What if the person earns significantly less money, like a barista? How does income and career play?
I think, this question is hard to answer because I feel like, in the back of the mind, people are still thinking about, like, it's one thing to, like, say something, but, like, to really actually live it out, I think is a lot different. But I will say that I am definitely... I feel like when I was in my early 20s, I always thought that I needed to be with somebody who and I've met other women, especially when I was in like my mid 20s, that felt the same way, where they felt like, and this again is in the context of like my farm school friends. So like I've met other women who were like, I would only date somebody who has a professional degree that is the same or above. I've had women that actually told me that.
Oh, that's not you.
No, that's not me. But like, it's definitely. But I would say that in general, the way that I approach with like dating, I'm always like, I think education is really important to me. I think it's important to a lot of, I don't know if I like Asian immigrants.
So what about that one? The
somebody who is a barista.
Barista.
Yeah, I think again it goes back to that question that we were talking about, where like, I'll have in a little bit. I don't want to eat and talk at the same time, but that question where we were talking about, what if you met somebody who was like, just partying out, their whole lives in their 20s, and then they like, turn their life around, so to speak. It sort of like relates to that in the sense where like, if somebody is like a barista, for instance, but like if that was something that they were passionate about, that they worked hard for, that they, that they were striving, let's say to like, I don't know, like be a barista at a specific kind of like bar, or like really like trying to learn, different, like if there's that sense of like drive, not that everyone needs to be like super, I don't even know how to explain it. It's
so
just like
the partying barista, no. The passionate barista, yes. Is that right?
Maybe. I don't even know if that's like the best example, but I guess I will say that I am the kind of person where I think for me it's just kind of ingrained in me as like, I mean, I will say like as an Asian American immigrant, I think it's ingrained in me that education is important. So for me,
what if it's a PhD guy working at Starbucks?
I mean, I don't know. But all I mean to say is that like, yes, education is important to me, but at the same time, like, I don't think it's a deal breaker necessarily. And again, like I feel like I have to know this person and know their history and their background or what their passions are. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a deal breaker.
Is that the same with so Michael's second part was like about income. If he earns significantly less money, that's still okay.
That's still okay, yes. For me, it is. A lot of women I know who are, especially like in my field, so to speak, who actually feel very differently about that. But I personally, I am fine with my partner making less money than me and even significantly less money than me. But again, it depends, like what he does for a living. I think I think I need to know a little bit more about the history and the background and that kind of stuff.
Okay. That is an
Yeah.
altruistic answer. Guys would be
I
happy.
don't know if that answered the question, but
Next question from Juan. What's the most you've done for your significant other or crush?
what's the most I've done in terms of
I'm not really sure in terms of what.
what's the most that I've
I wonder if it's like maybe just in general, maybe like a birthday or event or date.
or like
what.
how much money maybe, or I don't know. Is it like
I don't think it necessarily has to be for money. I'll give you an example. Trying to, be a little show off my romantic skills here.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably not even that romantic. But for example, one of my exes that I dated, she was coming over, and I think it was Christmas or New. Yeah, I think it was Christmas or New Year's, and we were long distance at the time. And so when she came, I had set up. I had made like stars that I hung up all over the ceiling. I had lights set up to make it look nice. Had flowers. Had like dinner and everything. And so she'd come back, and it was just like, it's just Christmas.
Yeah.
But because it was long distance, I wanted to make it somewhat special in some ways. That's not the most I've ever done, but just like I'm using that as an example to describe.
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever done?
For my significant other,
Or crush?
I would say I wouldn't have done that much for my crush. Like, I feel like the more serious a person is, obviously I will do much more.
Actually, let me take that back, because that's an interesting question. Because a crush could make sense. For example, you're crushing on some dude, and you're trying to get his attention. I'll give you an example. And this is going to be embarrassing, because I hope no one figures who this person is. But I joined a dance group to talk with the girl that I was crushing on.
Now I want to ask who this girl is.
No, people can probably figure it out if they thought about it.
I'm sure there is something. I just can't think of anything at the moment.
Nothing for a significant other or crush?
I mean, I've done a lot. I mean, I mean, when I'm thinking about my significant other, I'm just thinking of like things that I've done, like for a specific event, like like for a birthday or like for Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's the most that comes to mind? What's the thing?
I can't even think off the top of my head. My ex-boyfriend and I were really big on experiences rather than gifts.
Okay.
So we would spend, but when I'm thinking about them, I'm like, oh, those are all the experiences that he bought for me. Those weren't the ones that But I've done those, but like the more.
How about crush? Has there been a guy that you've crushed on and you just went out of your way a little bit more?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm sure there is. It's just been a while. It's been a long while. Yeah. I mean, but I would definitely say like even for a crush. God, it's sick of my.
Oh, you want some more water?
Maybe. I think for a crush, I mean, I'm definitely. Sorry. I definitely will like not drop everything, but I will make myself very available for somebody that I'm like, in the sense where like, hey, do you want to watch this game with a bunch of friends, and we're meeting at this bar like in an hour. So I mean I will. Not like if I'm with other people, but just like whatever I'm doing. I mean, I would make myself available.
Okay.
But I mean, I feel like that's the most that I would probably go with a crush. With a significant other, I think like the more serious a person is, the more obviously that you're like willing to do the lengths that you know.
All right, we weren't able to extract anything.
Sorry.
Juicy. Let's see what we got. Question: I wasn't here earlier, so sorry if this was asked. Mm-hmm. You better be sorry. But there's an inherent pressure when dating in your 30s to get married, have children.
No.
Do you agree and want with both of those?
Is this an issue for you? How is your partner not progress?
So I assume you agree. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what the second part is. Want with both of those?
I guess like, do I want?
Oh, do you want to get married and do you want to have kids?
And want to have kids? Yeah.
Which I'm assuming.
Yeah. That's a yes. Yeah, I think we slightly touched in on this, but yes, I do resonate that there is definitely an immense pressure, more so in your 30s and your 20s, to get married and have children. And honestly, for me, it's been something that I struggled with for such a long time, especially in my late 20s, because in my mind, I don't even know why this number was like a number in my head, but I was always like, I need to be married by like 28, and then I need to have kids by the time I'm 30. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, like, there's no point in giving yourself that kind of pressure, and I don't want that kind of pressure, because I do feel like it would make me want to settle with someone just out of convenience, as opposed to somebody that I really feel like is somebody that can withstand, you know, all the trials and hardships, like, you know, through the entirety of our marriage. And so, yeah, it's, yeah, there is so yeah, but I mean, to answer the question, yes, I do hope to have be married, and I do hope to have children. As I've mentioned it a little bit before, but like, I do desire to like have kids, but I don't necessarily feel like that needs to be I don't necessarily feel like I need to have the child. And I say that because, like, you know, obviously I'm in my 30s, and, you know, it's much harder to have kids like later on in your 30s. And so if that were the case, I'm fine with that, and I'm okay with that. So it's not, I guess for me, it's not as much of a pressure, because you can get married, whatever, but you can't always have kids, you know, for the rest of your life. So, yeah.
Okay. And the next question is kind of interesting, because I'm not sure what the issue is, but how would you
eating? Looks like a bowl of insects. It's seaweed. What is this? A seaweed snack?
Oh, it's
no, it's kale chips. Sorry,
kale
why did
chips.
I say seaweed?
This is an interesting question, because now I'm curious about that too. How would you handle your partner not progressing the relationship as fast as you'd want? This is more of a question for when you've been dating for more than 6 months or something. You know,
I kind of think we kind of answered that in the video that we did in January, a bit.
Did we? I can say that this is also on my mind, because one of my exes, I hope she's not watching.
You're like one of my 10 exes.
Well, one of my exes, one of the first things she said in the very first week or two of dating,
that she had a deadline.
Yeah. She said, I expect to be married within a year and a half to 2 years.
I think that's, yeah, to be honest, I think that's a reasonable...
But to say...
I know, yeah. I mean, I guess the
is,
timing of
how
when
do
to
you
bring
handle
it
it?
back.
How do you handle it?
How do I handle what?
If, like, let's say you've been dating a guy for 6 months and it wasn't progressing to as fast as you were, like, how would you handle it? Ultimatum?
I would say I probably would not. I've always really disliked when girls gave ultimatums, but at the same time, I mean, there are reasons for that. It's just and I think if it was not progressing to the way that I would expect it to within that first 6 months, then that would cause me to kind of take a step back and be like, what are the reasons why he's not progressing? And is that an issue for me? Is this somebody that I actually want to continue further with? Like, I don't think that I would be the person to put like a specific
Ultimatum.
deadline. Yeah, an ultimatum. But at the same time, I do have an expectation that I'm like, I also don't expect us to be dating forever, you know, and like you just kind of being not knowing what you want. But I think if within 6 months, that would definitely give me a reason to kind of take a step back and like reconsider.
But you're talking to him about this. You're right.
Or you're sorry.
Yeah, like,
yeah. Like I would be communicating that. Yeah. I definitely did not put a, like, just to give an example, the person I'm dating now. I mean, I didn't put like a, you know, in the first week of like, okay, I need to be married by the time I'm like 35.
I mean, that's reasonable. You guys are
it's
fresh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'll use an extreme example because if it's what not to do.
Okay.
Is one of my relationships ended because I waited 10 years. Mm. And she said that I didn't propose in 10 years. So, okay. Let's see what else we got. Looks like a bowl of insects. It's more like, what if the guy is slow to progress your relationship? Is it a deal breaker?
I don't know if I would say it's a deal breaker. I would just say that would definitely be a reason for me to think through things. If this, I wouldn't say it's like necessarily a deal breaker.
He actually said that we answered it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, let's see what kind of questions. Oh, yeah, the fun question. that you want to answer is
I don't even know. Like, I feel like my red flags would be different from your red flags. You should tell me what your red flags are.
well, that would be interesting. Yeah, because
No, you should tell me what your red flags
No,
are
no,
for
no.
dating profiles.
The
Because
vast
I'm interested
majority-
to know in the guy's perspective.
no. The vast majority of dates are girls that get dates. Guys usually don't get dates. So guys out there would love to know your thoughts on what are those red flags.
Okay, but when I say red flags, when I told you about it, I was thinking more like red flags that you see on a dating profile as you're like swiping through.
Okay, let's start with that. What are some red flags on dating profiles?
Okay. One of them for me, and this is just me because I'm like, I mean, I'm being very, this is my personal like preference, but like a big red flag for me, like or something that I don't like about, I don't know if it's a red flag or if it's just like something that I don't particularly like, but it's guys who like post like those
Selfies?
those bathroom selfies with shirtless. Like, I find that so unattractive. Like, even if he has a six-pack, I still find it so unattractive because for me...
But he's fit.
I mean, I'm sure he is, but you can also show your fit by wearing like a semi-tight-fitted shirt. I mean, you don't have to have like a full-on, like, this is what, you know...
So what does a red flag mean? So if you see a guy
So
with
sorry, I guess not a red flag, but like I definitely, it's like as I'm
so you would still swipe on the guy?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's
You
a
don't
reason,
swipe.
even if there is other stuff in the profile that for me,
Really?
I don't. Yeah. No, I don't. Because, okay, this is
not
the-
six-pack,
wait.
8-pack. 8-pack.
That doesn't make a difference. See, for me, it's like the quality that I don't, like I'd want, like for somebody that I'd want to like be my husband, the quality that I want about him is, okay.
It's not a six-pack.
No. It's somebody who's like humble, not somebody who's like cocky with like how they like, it's just like, yeah, I mean, you could look good, but to show it off in that way, I find that so like, it just like, I just find it really unattractive. That's just me. That's
So I gotta
just me.
update my profile. What's another red flag?
Another red flag that I see in dating profiles, and I don't know why guys do this, but some guys will post pictures of them with their ex. With the girl.
How do you know it's the ex?
Because it'd be like multiple pictures with her.
Yeah,
and
but could be a friend?
No. I mean, I've had is it Hinge? There's some apps that will connect to the person's Instagram, and I saw on one guy's profile where like he had maybe 2 pictures with this one girl, and then when it connected to his Instagram, and if you could look back like a few months, and like he would write, it was the same girl, and he had a caption. It was very clear that they were together. Yeah,
That's interesting.
Like people do post pictures of them with other females, but usually they'll write a caption on it or like say something like so that people don't get the wrong idea. I don't like it when guys just do that. Like, even if it wasn't their girlfriend, and they just post that picture without saying who it is. I find that so odd. I'm like, why do you
with
post...
the girl?
Yes. Like
Any girl?
if you looked good in that picture with a girl, then crop her out. Why do you have to have a picture of you with another woman? Like that just throws me the wrong way. Like for me it's like why? Like why would you do that?
So I'll answer from a guy's perspective.
Why would you do that?
What I think is I think some people have said that the vice would be that you don't want to look boring. You want to look, maybe it's like being around friends, which usually would be more than one person. Or maybe another perspective would be you want to seem like you're a good catch. So you pose with the girl. That might be reasons why.
Okay, well,
I don't do it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I guess.
But that's a red flag.
For me it is.
Okay.
Like
Next red flag. What else you got?
I'm thinking a lot of like pictures, like
Pictures?
No, like I mean, like when you look at a profile, there's pictures and there's like stuff that they write and stuff. I don't know if this is a red flag, but when people are like subtly, like sometimes they'll use like, for example, like Hinge is an app where, do you have Hinge?
Mm-hmm.
So Hinge is an app where you like they give you like prompts. So they give you like kind of like questions or something for you to answer, and you, instead of having like a long detailed bio, you just kind of answer the prompt. I don't like when guys answer those prompts when they're like subtly like I don't even know the word for it, like they're like subtly casual in their I mean they give the vibe that they're subtly casual in their description. Does that make sense?
Or casually dating? They want to
That they
date?
want that it's that they're
They don't want
that
anything
they're
serious.
in it for they don't want anything serious almost.
What's something like that?
I can't even give an example. It's just happened more than once on Hinge. It's just like any vibe that they get where they're just like, I don't know. Again, that's probably just me because I'm not looking for somebody to like hook up with, like I'm looking for somebody who like has like qualities of like a lifelong kind of partner. Maybe that's too, I don't know. But yeah, I get that.
Okay. I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not what you're looking for, so that's it's not. Yeah, I guess it's not really a red flag. It's just something you're not interested in.
Yeah.
All right, red flags. What's the
I
red?
can't.
No more.
I can't think of anything else at the moment in terms of like dating profile. Like I'm talking just like what you see on a profile.
Shift to in person then. What have been some red flags in person? Probably some good ones. Some good ones.
I mean, I described it a little bit earlier, just like somebody who's like.
Yeah, like being overly aggressive, physical.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty
anyone,
good red flag. Anything else?
Oh, are you gonna ask the paying for the bill one?
Oh yeah, that's a good one to ask. We need to talk about that.
I can't think of any like major red flags. I mean, like when dates don't go not as great, it's mostly because like we're just not compatible. It's just.
But
like,
there hasn't been other red flags that. You want more?
No, I'm okay. I can't think of any like major.
Okay.
Red flags. At least not that has happened to me.
Let's check the questions real quick. Wow,
we're going on what
1:30.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk finance. How do you feel about sharing finances in your relationship?
I think it depends on how far you are with that person to talk about finances, and I'm assuming the person's just talking about like how much you make. Is that what they're talking about when you're like talking finance? Or like, I guess I'm not. I don't know if I'm interpreting the question.
I think the first thing I think of like in a relationship is like if you're dating someone. I don't know for how long. Let's say maybe a couple months. Maybe you guys moved in together. That might be a little extreme, but yeah, let's just say you moved in together.
I wonder if it's connected to the question that we might be talking about in terms of
because this is relationship. So I'm assuming you're dating someone. But
how do you feel about sharing finance? Oh, maybe they mean sharing your sharing your money. Yeah. In terms of
like, let's say you live together with someone who pays for groceries, who pays for rent, who pays for electricity, who pays for nights out for dates, who pays for trips. Like, how do you share? I'm assuming that's the question. How do you share your finances in that situation? I think that's a very valid question.
Yeah, it is a valid question. I don't think I've ever done that before with anybody that I've been in a relationship. I'm trying to even think in terms of but I would say generally in a relationship, at least I'm talking more like I'm just going off of a past relationship. We generally always split things 50-50 all the time. So like if we were going on a weekend somewhere, we split it 50-50. If like one of us did like the Airbnb, the other person did, everything was like we made it very 50-50. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I feel like
sharing how much you make, but sharing bills. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Oh, sharing
bills,
not
expenses.
just sharing. Okay.
So kind of like what we are.
Yeah.
Rent.
So sharing your
money.
So
let's say you moved in with someone. You both have one apartment, one rent, one utility bill. What do you do?
So I wouldn't move. Okay, yeah. I mean.
No, it's hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
If you moved in with someone.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like I wouldn't move in with somebody unless we were
both
married. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's different.
Because and then in those situations, and well, marriage would be a different thing to talk about because
that's
people have yeah.
So if you're dating someone, there would be zero chance that you would move in together with them.
Yes.
Oh, that makes the question easy. What if one person makes more than the other?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
See, that goes back into a conversation that I'm even having with the person I'm in a relationship with.
Why?
Because I do make more than the person that I'm with. But
so does that matter?
For me, and this is going off of just because it's, I guess I'm speaking to the fact that it's like, it is a very, I know I haven't even talked to you. It is a very serious relationship. And so for me, obviously we're not going to be sharing, like, because I just told you, like, I wouldn't move in with somebody unless we were, like, married kind of thing. But even, like, if I were in that situation, like, married, but I was making more than the person that I was with, in my opinion, it would still be all shared money. Like, my money is his money. And like, I don't know if that makes
shared.
sense. Yeah.
So there's no, because like some people might do a percentage,
Right.
but it would.
And for me, it would, that, like, for me, in that kind of context, like, if I'm married to somebody, just because I make more than the other person doesn't mean that I have more of a say in decisions that involve both of us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's not true for me. If I make 3 times that person, they need to work 3 times. I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding. I just think it's very interesting because, like, during residency, a lot of my friends handled finances differently. Some people do the percentage thing. Some people keep separate accounts.
Sorry, I'm just gonna
because.
Oh yeah, I know that is like a real You're saying like when they've been in a relationship with somebody?
I'm talking about marriage.
Marriage, yeah.
Especially because you have joint accounts.
Yeah, you
at
have
the time.
joint. Yeah.
And that's out of scope because we're interested in helping the single people out there. But for marriage purposes, I do know that a lot of people get in arguments because one of my friends that got married got so pissed at her husband because he bought like this big ski rack and didn't check with her first because it was like $100 or $200.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So like sometimes people say there's like a percentage contribution to like a spending account.
Yes.
And also have their own. So there's many ways we can talk about that, but that's again, we're helping the single people out there. So let's see what we got. What if, I think we said that, what if one party makes more? They already said that. Would you be opposed to signing a prenup? That's not really a 30 plus question. It could be.
Didn't you have anything else on the...
Oh, there is.
On the... No, I just want to make sure that for the other...
Let's actually ask about that question, because that's a fun question, is who pays on the first date? Who pays on the first date?
I feel like we've discussed this in length, but my general opinion about the whole thing, I feel like is, I would say different than a lot of other people. Okay, so for me, first date, I always appreciate when a guy offers to pay. I generally, on a first date, will always offer to split it, all the time. And, so... No, but I was just gonna say like how like even when I offer to split it, people respond to that differently. Some people are okay with it, and then other guys are like, no, I really want to pay for it.
Wait, say that first one again. The guys are what?
I'm saying like even when I do offer to split it, people respond to that differently. So some people are okay with it, and they're like, okay, yeah, sure.
Oh, some people are okay with it.
Yeah, but then some guys.
How do you feel about that? So a guy, you say, we want to split. The guy's like, okay. Mm-hmm. How's that make you feel?
I mean, personally, I'm okay with like. It definitely like.
It makes you feel a certain way.
It makes me feel a certain way,
what?
like especially for like a first date, because it's like it's more like I guess for me it's like the reason why I do it is because I don't want to assume that like I don't want to.
No, but describe the feeling. What does that make you feel when a guy says,
"Sure,
hey, let's split"? No, but what do you feel?
If they prompt it or
they said they want to pay, you say let's split. He says okay, and what's your feeling?
I mean, my feeling is just a feeling of like
shock.
Not shock. I mean, it's not shocking, but it's definitely like. Okay, like it's just I guess it's like I appreciate when a guy wants to pay for the bill. How
about this? This is a pretty concrete one. A lot of girls usually are in that situation, and what they usually would say is if the guy doesn't pay, there won't be a second date. Even if they offered. So if a guy didn't pay and they split, would you give him a second date? Let's say things went well.
Absolutely. Yeah. That I mean, that's for me. That's not a reason to not have a second date.
What about second, third, and fourth date? That same thing happened. Does that change anything?
What do you mean?
Like your second, third, and fourth date, you guys go to all these different places, and he offers to pay, and then you say split. You want to split, and he takes it every single time for like 5 dates.
Yeah. Does
that change anything for you?
No, because like again, it goes back to my opinion about it. I don't. I personally don't operate under the impression that a guy should always pay just because he's the guy.
Why?
Because, and I know we've talked about it at length, but just like, because, you know, I feel like that kind of culture, that mindset comes from a time period where men were the ones that were working. They were the ones making the money. Women were not, you know, we're not career women the way they are now. And so for me, especially more so because like I do have a job. It's not because of the amount of money you make. It's just a simple fact that I have a career just as much as he does, or maybe he doesn't. And so, but generally we're both probably making money of our own. So for me, I don't think that's a reason, like just because he's a guy means that he should always pay for the bill. So I will say that when I'm in a dating situation, when I'm exclusive with somebody, whether it's like in a full official relationship or we're just like exclusive and still kind of like dating, I generally operate the same in the sense where like I always split. Like it's never I mean, I guess I will say that sometimes it's a little bit more like 60-40 but like and I do like, but yeah, for the most part I will never, I never not offer to split. Yeah, and sometimes like the way it is with me and somebody that I'm what? Oh,
what, did you read it?
I think I did. I kind of maybe I'm reading it too fast, but
your question got noped because you skipped his question.
Oh, I mean,
no answer.
No answer.
Question got noped.
But what was I saying? Yeah, like.
So there's no difference. Basically.
Yeah, there's no difference. Yeah, but in some situations it's more of like, yeah, it's not always like a 50-50 for every single like bill or whatever. Sometimes it's like, okay, if you cover that, I'll cover the next.
Oh, sure,
next thing or something like that. Yeah, but in general, I never put in a situation where it's like he always pays for everything. Yeah.
Would you say that's you're the minority or the majority?
I don't know. I've had conversations with other people and
with other girls.
With other girls, yeah. I haven't had too many conversations with it, but I would generally say that most women, even if they're, you know, have careers, that they are generally, to some extent, I think expect the guy to pay more than I'm usually have that kind of, I don't know. It's, yeah, I would say that yes. I feel like from my conversations with women that it's
you're the minority.
The minority. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my mindset is just like, I make money just as much as you, and then like, why should you be not wasting, but just like putting all your money into us? Like, I'm gonna put money into us too, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And we're just talking about first dates.
Right. Okay. Well, I was talking also about like after that too.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I feel as though the vast majority of girls, no matter how well it went, the chemistry was good. If the guy didn't pay the first date, second date doesn't happen. That's the impression I get from
yeah.
Not
I would
like,
never not. For me, it's not like a deal breaker. I will say that like for a first date, if I offer to split and the guy accepts, it makes more an impression on me when he insists that he pays. When a guy insists, then I'll be like, okay, sure. And like that does make a little bit of an impression on me. But I would never expect him to do that on the second or third date. Like first date, I feel like yeah, sure, like you, yeah, but I don't know. Is that
no? That's good. That's good. We can probably start wrapping up here because it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer Wilson's question that you skipped?
I don't know.
So his question is, would you be opposed to signing a prenup?
I don't know if I want to answer that.
Oh, okay.
But do we, yeah. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else that we were supposed to talk about before.
We got through all the ones.
You
the
got all the questions that I
ones. We
That
covered
that I
actually
kind of-
all the ones. The other ones are kind of okay. It's like ranking the top things you look for in a partner. Which, you want to answer that?
What was it? What was the question?
Basically, like the top 3 things you would look for in a partner, and what would those be?
I mean, I think we
We
top
did kind of
3
briefly set it.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
what's the main things you look for when you're in the dating scene?
I feel like I have very like intangible things, whereas people may have more objective, tangible things. And
What's an intangible thing?
I mean,
Like what's an example?
Sorry, I guess like objective type things. Like so, I don't know. Some people like kind of they like I don't know. Okay, for me it would be. It's hard to answer. I mean, for me it'd be like for me it's like the number one. I've mentioned before in a video with you, but for me it's not the number one thing would be faith. Somebody who has like a faith that is that aligns with what I believe. 2. This is like an intangible thing, but like I really, really value honesty. I mean, everyone does.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm sure everyone does, and
should look
it
for
manifests in different ways. And but again, that all even goes back to like the ghosting versus like I prefer to be honest and upfront, like that. So honesty is really important to me. 3rd, I guess somebody who is like intentional / serious, like somebody who is like knows that he's on here just to kind of like I don't know, just to like date around, so to speak, like somebody who like values.
But let's say
something.
they were. I think maybe the question will come from a place of you guys are all good together, but what are those things that you're actually looking for?
What do you mean we're all good together?
Like you would assume that if this person I'm not doing a good job of articulating this, but basically it's I don't know how to describe it. Let's just get over that.
Okay.
What other things do you have, traits that you look for? Anything else, or is that like the main things?
I mean, I would, in terms of like top 3 things. I mean, like it'd be, yeah. I mean, I would be lying if I said that like things like physical looks didn't play any role in any.
Sure. I mean, everyone does.
Yeah. I guess.
So what are some of, but those are things that are interesting for guys to know about. Like, what are some things that other things you might be looking for? I don't know. But physical traits, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm not sure what other traits you're talking about. Like, what are things that we're talking about? 'Cause I feel like I'm not answering the question. Like,
how about height? That's a fun one.
Oh gosh, I meant to mention that when we were talking about age filtering. I have a
filter height?
Yes, I do.
What?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
what's the height
I
filter?
didn't used to, but then I went on 1 or 2 dates. So the thing is, like, I get it. Like, height shouldn't matter, but I guess like for me, it was very. Yeah, it was just like it was. I remember one of the first dates I've ever went on a dating app with somebody that he was short. Yeah, he was shorter than me, but not
How
just
short?
shorter. I want to say he was either my height or a little bit shorter. So I'm like 5'3".
He was shorter than you?
There
No
are
hate.
guys who are short.
No hate.
He might have been my exact height, but when I met him, the reason why I felt like he was shorter was because he was like petite. Like I have really long, lanky
He was petite
arms.
and short.
Like he was like proportioned to be like shorter. Like he had shorter arms. Okay, I'm trying to like. I have really long, lanky arms, but he had like shorter arms, so he felt like he was like shorter or smaller.
Was he shorter?
I want to say when I looked back at his profile, he was like my same height. But he seemed like he was shorter than me when I met him, just because like proportion-wise, he was like just short, smaller. So anyway, when I met it, like I
So
not
what
that
is
I
your
couldn't
height
get
filter
over,
now?
My height filter now is that he must. So I'm 5'3". The guy has to be at least
6'5".
No, 5'5". Like he has to be at least 2 inches taller than me. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, but it's like I don't want to like. It's not that like those. It's just for me. It was.
Height
I
filters.
mean, I didn't used to, but then I met, and he wasn't the only person who I met that was like my same height, and just like. Yeah, I realized that it made a difference to me, that it was something that it was like really important. So
Yeah, it's the same question.
Yeah.
Does height matter? Okay.
The real question is, does weight matter? I'm just kidding.
Well, but so we just talked about height, but we didn't talk about weight, right?
But that's
No,
we're gonna go there.
No, we're not. But I'm saying that because controversy is sometimes good. I'm not going to elaborate on it, but the common argument that guys would have with this whole debate with height, especially girls wanting guys that are only 6 feet or taller.
That's
no matter what it is. But here's the thing. It doesn't even matter what their preferences are. The criticism is that girls can say it.
Oh, but
guys cannot. If a guy publicly, like if a girl says, let's just not even say 6 foot, say 5'5", okay? Is it appropriate for a guy to say, I want a girl that's less than 100 pounds? That's not. So the common criticism from the dating world, or especially guys, is that it's a double standard.
I mean, I do agree to that to some extent. I mean, I do agree, but at the same time, I would think it's like if a girl said that she only wanted a guy who's less than, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like, yes, it is true to some extent, I would say.
And to add to that, you can't change height, but you can usually change weight. So that's what they usually argue with. How do you feel about that?
You can't change height, but you can change weight.
But
yeah. So, like, I mean, for me...
It's a hard question.
It's a hard question,
yeah. You don't have to answer
you're...
this. I'm just saying that...
Okay,
it's a hard...
It's a hard question. I will say that I don't necessarily put, like, numbers on it or anything like that. But for me, I value somebody who cares about his health. Now, how that looks like could be different for some different people,
But I would think it's okay for a girl to say that they want a guy that's fit. I don't think it's okay for a guy to say they want a girl that's fit. I think a guy would get shamed more often than a female if he said he wanted a fit girl versus a girl that said that about a guy.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I mean, I do agree that there was some double standard. I'm not sure to what extent, but...
Petite and short, nope.
I mean, I realize how unmanly that is to call somebody petite, but it was, I didn't realize, let's just say, I never thought that it made a big deal to me until it happened. I was like, oh,
well, to be fair,
height matters a little bit to me.
I talked about it with Norman, is like, I went on a date with someone that was 1 inch taller, and it was the most awkward thing ever.
You see, you have a much hard, because you're, like, have you dated a lot of, well, I don't know. I feel like it's harder to find women who are shorter than you than taller than you. You specifically.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to find females in general. Doesn't matter the height.
Hard to find a living, breathing
There you go.
girl.
Yeah, exactly. So height doesn't, whatever. That's why the 5'7" came along. But no, it's just weird. So I do the same thing.
Okay.
Set height filters.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Okay.
But I know some people don't mind it. Some people it's okay with like differences in height. I think it's weird. But
yeah, I think it's a little weird. But...
Anyways, let's start wrapping up because now it is 2 hours. Is there anything else that's on your mind in terms of addressing major insights? Anyone from the audience? That number is actually wrong.
I was gonna say there's definitely more people
Yeah.
than what that little thing said. I don't know where.
Yeah, it's kind of jumped around.
Yeah.
But anything that we missed? Any last minute questions from the audience? How did you feel about Katie? Was it juicy enough?
Probably not juicy at all. I do not live a juicy life. I live a very boring life here boring, responsible life here in DC. No.
Okay. So, on your side, anything else?
Not really. I'm trying to think if there were a couple of things that I was like, oh, I should talk back about, like, I should expand on this, but then I kind of forgot. So, yeah.
There was some stuff you want to expand?
I can't remember, but, I can't remember. I just, it was like earlier, I lost my train of thought, but, yeah.
How about this? So for all the guys that are watching, what tips would you give the guys?
Tips?
Yeah, tips.
Tips.
If you were hypothetically speaking single, what tips would you give the guys that are watching?
Don't post shirtless selfies in the bathroom. It's such a turn off for me. Again, this is me personally. I'm just joking.
But you said that was a red flag.
It is. Like, I mean.
Okay, we can go.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that.
Don't do that because it doesn't impress women like me. It may impress other women, but I don't know. I guess like for me, I really value like somebody who's just, again, it goes back to like, I value honesty. Like when I'm talking to somebody, if I match with somebody and I'm asking them questions and what I'm looking for it to get to that next step is just somebody who's willing to go to be, you know, deep and real and just like honest, like not just giving me superficial answers or things that are or like answers that they think that I want to hear. I guess like.
So I'm curious now, and I know that we're supposed to wrap this up. Is how do you initiate a deep, honest question?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say I have like a list of questions. I guess it just depends.
But like, let's say you met a guy just now, and you know, you just said hi or whatever, right? And the guy's like, "What is the the first question from the guy is, what is the meaning of life?" Like, is that how?
No, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't say that there's like a list of questions or anything. It's more just like, I mean, the conversation.
But how do you initiate that?
It just like, I mean, like if he tells a little detail about something and then I want him to expand a little bit more, like I like to hear his like.
Oh, so it doesn't matter what the question is.
It doesn't matter what the question is.
Expanding it's more on certain. Like your question.
I wouldn't necessarily say like it's just like expanding on a question. It's more just like somebody who's willing to be real and honest. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. Just like, you know, somebody who's willing to go past like surface level type of discussions. I don't know.
Okay. So Lisa says, what are some upcoming episodes? So we have some exciting episodes coming. And Katie will probably come back for some of those too. But we have some exciting upcoming episodes. This Friday, actually, we are having Norman back again to co-host with two girls that I think one is 23 or 24 and the other is like 25. That will be coming on and sharing their female dating experiences. And then the week after that, we have somewhat of a blind date. I don't know if they're watching. But we have somewhat of a blind date.
Are they both Asian on your subtle?
Yeah.
Can't see. Oh, okay.
I think so. I think both of them are Asian. I don't remember. But we have a blind date with two individuals in their 20s that's local in... Oh, they don't know it's a blind date, by the way.
Wow.
But I'll let them know beforehand. In 2 weeks. And then we have... we have a lot more coming up that maybe I'll share later. It's not ironed out. But we have a lot of random dating episodes. And in the future, we hope to have a dating game where it's going to be one guy and like 5 girls or one girl and 5 guys. So stay tuned for that. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Katie, for joining. And if you guys like this, make sure you like the video, drop a comment, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.